What happens when a director gets burned so badly he decides to play it safe and make something even the studio Muppets can understand? Out of that came a film about a bloke on the run who kidnaps a rich girl while the whole thing turns into a live circus. So how did a simple chase idea turn into a scrappy, risky production that still made money and refused to piss off quietly? Let's find out. This is the history of The Chase.
Domino's Pizza! You hurt my little girl, Hammond, I swear to God I'll kill you myself!
The whole thing started with Adam Rifkin coming off The Dark Backward, which flopped hard and left him needing something that would make some bloody money. So he dropped the weird angles and went straight at something simple the studio big brains upstairs could follow without getting lost. He decided to build his new idea around something already kicking off on American television, where police chases had started turning into full-blown live events with helicopters, reporters shouting, and networks sticking to one car like nothing else mattered. But Rifkin was not trying to make some clever piece for critics and built the film around that chase madness. Out of that came Jack Hammond, a wrongly convicted guy who breaks out, nicks a car, and kidnaps a rich girl.
Kill it! Don't do it!
Which throws him straight onto the road with police right on his ass.
Now that's disgusting.
So you're gonna tell me why you're on the run?
As the chase continues, the media jumps on it and turns the whole mess into a live tabloid frenzy. With the concept in place, now Rifkin needed the cast to make the damn thing work. So the lead role was landed by Charlie Sheen. He wasn't just a star either, because he also came in as an executive producer, so he had a bit more riding on it than just turning up and cashing a bloody check. From there, the focus turned to Natalie Voss. Christy Swanson got the part, and it marked the third time she and Sheen had worked together. With the two leads in place, the rest of the cast started taking shape. Henry Rollins and Josh Mostel came in as the cops chasing them, while Ray Wise got the role of her father and Rocky Carroll landed on the media side of the story. Then came the stranger bits around the edges. Anthony Kiedis and Flea turned up in cameo roles, and then there was Ron Jeremy as the cameraman, because why the hell not? Now with all of that thrown together, next the movie needed its tunes to keep up with the chase. Richard Gibbs handled the score, while the film also used music from bands like Bad Religion, Rolling Bands, and Dawn by Law. That gave the film a proper split between the score doing the work underneath and the songs giving it that little 90s kick over the top. The music also had to keep pace with the chase, the media circus, and all of the dodgy stuff going on inside the car.
What the hell is he swerving all over for?
But while the movie was trying to turn one long chase into a full bloody movie, behind the scenes it was already being made on the cheap and with a fair bit of nerves. It was set in California, but once that decision was made, the real work was being hammered out in Houston, because shutting down Los Angeles freeways for that kind of thing would have cost a fortune. And right from the start, that was a big part of the problem. They only had a few million to play with, so they had to make that money stretch as far as they could, and that started shaping the whole production pretty damn quickly. Rifkin said the Houston toll roads were still pretty underused at that time, which gave them long stretches they could use without spending stupid money shutting half a city down. So once they had that, the whole thing started building around it. The opening convenience store scene was shot in Kemah, while most of the main chase material was filmed on the Hardy Toll Road. Then there was the part that got a bit hairy. To keep costs down, some of the chase footage was filmed right in the middle of Houston rush hour traffic. No clearance, no sealed off roads, no stunt drivers stepping in, which was the sort of thing that could have gone a bit pear-shaped really quickly. At the same time, Sheen already had other shit going on. Excluding his personal antics, he was also training for Major League 2. and even once they got the thing shot, it wasn't settled. They originally shot a different ending, but that got binned for whatever reason, so the film didn't even end up finishing the way it was first shot. Then there were other bits that showed the set was a bit loopier than it actually looked. Flea later said he and Anthony Kiedis were making up lines while shooting and messing about with a Gerardo joke they found funny at the time. So it wasn't really some tight buttoned up set. Parts of it were being held together with a bit of improv and a fair amount of blag.
Why me? I go in for some cigarettes and I wind up kidnapping the daughter of Dalton Voss. What are the
When
odds?
the movie was finally released in cinemas in March '94, the question was pretty simple. Would anyone actually show up and watch the damn thing? Its initial numbers weren't great. It took in around $3.4 million on its first weekend and finished in 5th place. Then it dropped like shit in a toilet to 13th place and ended its US run at around $7.9 million. Regardless of its small box office run, Rifkin said because the film had only cost a few $1,000,000 to make, it actually made a big profit for the wigs at Fox. Then came the critics, and that's where the usual lot started chatting a load of shit. The Los Angeles Times pretty much brushed it off as a silly no-brainer, with Sheen and Swanson belting down the road for most of the runtime and not much else going on. A Deseret News critic had a proper whinge about the script, the one-liners, and the frantic MTV-style cutting, like the film had personally broke into his house and nicked the remote. Then you had the halfway house takes. The Austin Chronicle more or less said it was big, stupid, and loud, but at least it knew exactly what sort of film it was. The New York Times was not keen on the shallow characters, but still admitted it got some laughs. At least a few critics actually understood what the setup was really about. They could see it was taking the piss out of tabloid telly, live news circus garbage, and the way every car chase got treated like the second coming. Roger Ebert was one of the kinder ones. He gave it some credit for having charm, wit, and a bit of slickness to it. He still thought it was thin as a cinema film, but at least he didn't act like the thing had murdered his dog. The leads, on the other hand, got it slightly easier. Swanson picked up some praise, and a few critics thought she and Sheen worked better together than the script deserved. Variety, though, was still doing the critic thing, having a pop at both the performances and the way Natalie was written in the script. So the reaction landed in an awkward spot. A few critics got the joke, but most of the usual moaning gits were too busy sneering at the noise, the speed, and the attitude to admit the film knew exactly what it was bloody doing.
Whoa! Did you see that? That medical school truck is spilling out cadavers.
And after all of that, the film didn't just fade away, it kept knocking about. Part of that came down to the whole media angle, because a little while later after it came out, the O.J. Simpson chase happened, and suddenly this little film about a televised pursuit didn't look half as far-fetched. As the years went on, people started looking back at it as more than just another 90s chase movie. Henry Rollins later said the film had built a proper cult following, and that he kept getting mail about it whenever the movie popped up on TV. So even if it wasn't some blockbuster hit, it clearly found its fans. And once it got into people's homes, that only got bigger. The film hit VHS in 1994, which was exactly where something like this was always going to do a lot of its graft. Then it landed on DVD in 2005. Sadly, the movie has not got a Blu-ray release at the time of filming this video. For fans who want to add the movie to the collection, I've added a link in the description below, and there should also be a card popping up on screen to help you check it out. Now, as for my own take on it, I think it's a cracking little film. It's a fast, funny little chase film with enough front, charm, and bollocks to deserve better than the shrug it got. But the best part of this flick is Henry Rollins. He's loud, funny, and over the top, and he stops the whole thing from turning into a bit of a cock-up. Now we're not done yet. Next time we dive into another forgotten classic. Until then, why don't you check out our previous episode on Al Pacino's Scarface.
Say hello to my little friend!
Look, thanks for watching, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.